Oh, that felt weird. I just poked myself in the eye. Welcome to the inaugural, I think that's the right word, to the first beer and gear live stream from Castle Moorlander Annex Part 2 here in the Kingdom of the Moorlands. I hope you're all good. I think we just got one person on at the moment. Hey, how's it going? Yeah, no one's here yet, but hopefully the mic. Oh, you see, we've got a few more people. That's cool. So, getting into it, I guess. Hope you're all good. Hope you're all having a good week. Well, I suppose the week's finished now, so I hope you all have a good weekend. That's to come, isn't it? Start off with let's. I knew this was a prank. Oh no, hopefully it's a real thing. Let's get some beers started. So what we're doing is we're cracking off the night with. I thought with this being beer and gear. Oh, that's weird. That's not working. We go with a Moorland speckled hen. It's a classic. Now it's not the Kingdom of the Moorlands. I believe these guys are in Suffolk, but over the centuries, the people of the Kingdom of the Moorlands, we've kind of put out little tendrils. A lot of us have moved through the rest outside into England with our English neighbours there, like Exmoor, Dartmoor, the Yorkshire moors, and clearly we're in Suffolk and we make some beer for old speckled hen. So here's to good health, by the way. Evening, Chris. Evening, Jacob. Now, I guess this is 100% new to me. I've done a few lives before. I think I did one like at Christmas a few years back. I did another one as well, but I didn't really get how it worked. So I just started talking and didn't really put anything out. But hopefully this will be something that we'll do once a month and we'll just kind of sit, chat, have some beers and, chew the fat kind of thing. So what I thought we'd do, this being the first one, I just want to make sure that everything works. I'm guessing you can all hear me okay. Hey, how's it going, Farang? Yeah, so hopefully you can all hear me okay. And I've tried to set up some studio lights, but if it is that maybe the audio isn't the best, generally you kind of watch these afterwards and they go, oh, the audio is not the best. I'll maybe get one of those little condenser mics or whatever it is that it needs just to kind of build on that. But I thought rather than doing this every week, I think if we just, okay, that's cool. That's good to know. If we do once a month, I think once a month's fine. We can just, again, sit and chat and kind of go through stuff. If it is that these are enjoyable and maybe there is a demand and people are like, oh no, yeah, maybe we should do it once a fortnight. Maybe that's something that we could possibly look at. But I guess for now, if we just do it once a month, then it'll make sure that there's enough to talk about every month. We'll choose kind of a theme. Now, I don't know how, or at least what I want to do is, I think this being the first one, it would be useful to get some feedback after this. My idea is that what we could do is each one of these, I'll choose a theme, or maybe what we could do is on the community tab, I could put down a few ideas for a few different themes, and then we can use that just to vote on it. And the themes could be something as loose as favorite backpack manufacturer, or things you can't live without whilst out and about. Yeah, so that's what I was thinking with the surveys. So I could put on, say, three or four different themes, and then maybe an other if there's another one, and then if people see the other one and think, actually, yeah, that's really good, well, we should do that, and then they can give them the thumbs up. So we could do it that way. If it turns out that somebody suggests something else, that other people like, and there's more thumbs up for that than there is for some of the other posts and ideas, then we could do it that way. Selling tonight is the finest old speckled hen. It's a ruby ale from it's not, as mentioned, it's not from the Kingdom of the Moorlands. You'll be the first one. If there's anyone ever going to get banned, it will definitely be you, Farang. Yeah. Anyway, so again, here's to good health to everyone. Does everybody have a beer tonight? Are you all drinking? Hopefully, you are all drinking, which is, it's good that you should. Hey, Matt, how's it going? I thought it'd be useful to start off with house rules. Do we need house rules? House rules are: if you need to go to the toilet, don't feel that you have to put your hand up to go to the toilet. Feel free just to leave the room. It's fine. In the case of emergency or if there is a fire wherever you are, then please feel free to leave the building in a quiet and calm manner. Hopefully we won't need to talk too much about politics and religion if it happens to come up at some point and it kind of makes sense just to quickly mention something. That's cool. There's a lot of weird stuff going on around the world, so I think it's best to stay clear of that sort of stuff. And other than that, it's just a case of beers and just sitting and chatting. Awesome Warsaw Beer Festival. Do you know what? I was talking to some buddies. So a few buddies of mine have been over to going over. Well, they went over last year to Germany for the whole kind of Oktoberfest. But I know as far as the mighty Polish nation are concerned, you guys are massive beer drinkers. I used to work in a warehouse where we had some absolutely amazing Polish girls who worked there, and I thought the Polish were just kind of vodka drinking nation, but yeah, you guys really can nail some beers. But that does sound cool. I've never been to Poland before. It's certainly one of the places I'd like to go. I get to travel a little bit with work, so it's definitely a place that I'd love to visit. If you need a toilet, maybe we should set up some sort of like little catheter thing so then we don't have to actually miss any of the excitement of today's show. What I thought, because I haven't really, because this is more of a test just to make sure that everything works and that the lighting works. I just thought maybe if I gave you a bit of an update on where Moorlander EDC is, and kind of a little bit of an update on Moorlander Tactical as well, since that kind of split a few years ago. So for me, I've been working quite hard to get this set up. For the last few years, I've been working from my dining room table, which isn't the best. But what that meant is that I didn't have a space that I could put all of my gear, and there is a lot of it. So I've managed to get myself a shed, which I work from during the day, but this has also become kind of Moorlander Castle version 2, or Castle Moorlander version 2. It's actually getting really hot in here. I think it's because of those lights. They are quite warm. So I've got a place that I can store all of my gear. It means that I can now start doing these, because before, one of the limitations was I had to wait for Mrs. Moorlander and my daughters to be out of the house. Well, not necessarily out of the house. I don't need them out of the house, but it just helped because I'm an idiot. I say stupid things and I just hear them tutting in the background like, Rand, why did you say that? You make it sound like a knob. But that's the kind of the regular stuff that your wife and your kids think about you. So I've been putting a little bit more work into setting this up so that I've got this, but it's meant for the coffers from the Kingdom of the Moorlands, where my money comes in from YouTube, and I do make a little bit from affiliate links. I don't make an awful lot from affiliate links. Most of mine is from ads from YouTube. So it's meant that it's been able to pay for this and the racking and my desk and the other stuff that's in here. So I've been working a little bit harder to try and make more of this so that I can help to grow the channel by hopefully being able to do these as well. But it's all kind of part of just trying to build this more of a community thing. And I thought this would be the best part of that, because it's just a way in which that I can talk to you guys a little bit better. Over the last 2 or 3 years, I'm just trying to think when it was. So I think it was the first time that I went to IWA. When I got back, because I'd had some time off, I found I couldn't get back to answering every single comment. I try and read every single comment, but due to time, I can't answer every single one. So I thought this would be another good way, if needs be, that maybe if there were people that had got questions that I'd missed and had not been able to answer, that these sort of things could be brought up in here as well. So if there wasn't necessarily a theme one week, which I'll try and make sure that there is a theme each week, but instead it could be a case of, is there anything about something that I've had a look at recently that maybe I've not been able to get back to, that maybe we could do that as well. And I also figure as well, on a kind of a selfish side, which I suppose not really selfish, but on that side, when we're going into conversations and people, oh, have you ever seen one of these, or you don't want to try one of these, or have you not heard of this Bavarian company that make one of these bags? It'll help me to get more of an idea from you guys, because I mean, I'm pretty good at looking at stuff and finding different things, but there's only a certain amount of time that you can spend in a day on social media trying to work out what it is that you want to make more content on and sending out emails and stuff. So I think this will be able to help to get me a greater understanding of other things that are out there that you guys are interested in, that maybe you want some honest content on. So the iPad Pro is bad. Oh, okay. Well, hope is it usually good on the iPad Pro? Maybe I will have a look at then at picking up one of those mics. I don't think they're particularly expensive. I can just keep it here, and then I'll look at that. So we've got currently looking at 2 or 3 tactical packs. Ooh, I think on that one, the first one that springs to mind, really, especially if you're looking at different sections, what's the one? So there is the which ones? So Polish brand, which I'm sure you'll be happy with as well, which is the Visport. I think Visport, one of their larger ones, they have one of those ones where it's got the section at the bottom that you can put your wet gear into. And then they make those in such a way that it's got one of those pull strings in it, so that if you want to use the full volume, you just have to open that out, and then you'll be able to use the full kind of extent of the capacity in there. Another one that definitely springs to mind instantly would also be the Savota Yakady L. The difference between the M and the L is, I think it jumps up from 30 litres up to about 55 litres. And with the Yakady L, it then has, again, it has that bottom section. So it has the drawstring so that you can divide it, or you can open it up so that you can you can use the full capacity, or you can kind of subdivide that. But with the Yakari L, it also has a bottom opening, so that if you just want to get into the bottom section. But I think, if I remember rightly, I think Visport have a couple of those bags. And I also think, is it not the Helicon, what is it? It is the Tasmanian Tiger Raid. Is it the Raid backpack? I might need to check on that one, but check the Tasmanian Tiger Raid backpack, or the Raid rucksack, whatever it's called, because that has similar as well. So it's got that bottom section that you can open out, and then you can put stuff into. I definitely recommend those. I think if you're after a tough military style backpack, one, they're decent companies. If you're Jakub, if you're in Poland and you want to support a Polish company, that'd be awesome, especially considering with this sport, they're also made in Poland as well. I've never had any issues with those bags. Before I started making content like this, I was only aware of most of the mainstream ones. And the last couple of years, making some content on some of the Visport ones, been really impressed with those backpacks. They are pretty much indestructible. So, yeah, I think you're probably good with those. Yeah, I'm glad. Yeah, I kind of said earlier about with the comment section. So I do try and read every single comment. If it is that it's a comment that's just like a, love what you're doing, then I'll try and go through and do like a thumbs up and a more and appreciated that one. But if I can, I do try to answer most of the questions. I feel, I don't know, if somebody's sat down and watched one of my pieces of content and they've got something that I can possibly help them with, I feel it's almost polite for me that somebody spent their time to watch something that I've created, so that I kind of help and give back to them and be able to say, give them an answer. So yeah, I'm glad. I'm glad that's appreciated. So yeah, so the other bit, just kind of on the update on the two channels as well. So next year, Moorlander EDC and Moorlander Tactical will be at IWA in Germany again. Last year was a bit weird. There was a few companies that decided not to do IWA, and instead they just did the one that was beforehand, which is called Enforce Tac. And I didn't get access to Enforce Tac, so companies like Helican Tex, which was really weird that they decided just to do Enforce Tac and not IWA as well, because Enforce Tac is more for those kind of military buyers, whereas IWA is still for that sort of stuff, but it's a lot about like kind of large retail companies while wanting to purchase stuff. So it's really strange that they weren't there. But I've been working with German company EPIG Group or EPIG Group. So next year, I'm actually going to go to Enforce Tac, and I'm going to be working for the EPIG Group. We still got a couple of things to kind of finalize, but because the amount of work that they do, it's crazy how much content they put out over those 3 days, and that's just for Enforce Tac. And then a few days afterwards, they then do IWA, and they put out just as much content from IWA as well. So talking to Martin and a few of them, the team there, because German is their first language, trying to, after 3 days and they're so tired, they not like forget how to speak English, but being able to speak English to some of the English kind of manufacturers is a bit of a struggle. So I'm going to be working next year at Enforce Tac for the EPA group, and then a few days later I'll be at IWA, and I'll be doing Moorlander EDC and Moorlander Tactical there for whichever the company is. So I'm hoping as well that will help my presence with some of these companies as well, so that I can build a relationship with them, that will then hopefully open some more avenues into being able to make content with different companies as well. The guys at Epic Group are absolutely amazing. Yeah, they're absolutely amazing people. So it's really good that I've been able to do that through them, which hopefully again should just open more doors for Moorlander EDC and kind of, I'm trying to think of the word, kind of increase that engagement with myself and some of these other large companies, which again hopefully should be a benefit to Moorlander EDC and also to Moorlander Tactical. Which was another question actually. While we're here, I mean, you don't have to if comment now or comment later. Because I've got those two channels, and predominantly this is gear and beer, this is beer and gear. It'll probably be more of the EDC side, but if we wanted to do one every 6 months, where maybe we talk a little bit more about the tactical gear side. I don't know if that's something that you're interested in. It's always something that we can. I don't think we want to do it as much because I don't think that side is as big as the EDC side, or the outdoors kind of side. But there's the option there, should we want to, or should you want to, that maybe we can just kind of bring in a little bit of that as well. Behind me here, this is the majority of the stuff here. It's all backpacks. That one down there is full of backpacks. Most of them I've reviewed, but there are a few of them that I do need to get to. This one here, is that one there? No, that's not the right one. Where is it? Oh, that one up there, we will get back to. Like I say, I do get sent a lot of stuff, and I know I get a lot of grief sometimes because I get a lot of free stuff sent to me, and I do get a lot of free stuff sent to me, which is nice. But I've got a lot of stuff, and what I thought was, as part of these, that we'll just do it for these live streams. Then I'll do some giveaways because there's loads of stuff. But there's airsoft stuff. There's another one full of airsoft stuff. This one's full of jackets. I've been sent some nice, really cold weather jackets. So that's going to come really useful in here when it's in the middle of winter because there's no heating in here. More backpacks, and then at the top there's other tactical gear as well. And can everyone remember the piece of content on the Moorlander war chest? Still got the Moorlander war chest down here, so that's full of stuff. More stuff there. So there's plenty of stuff that there's still left to review. As long as it's tactical and not tactical. No, there'll be some Gucci stuff in there. Hopefully there'll be some nice Gucci stuff in there. But I think because I'm a gear guy, I got into airsoft because I'd got the gear. I've just always been a gear guy. So it's not going to be, this is how you go in, this is how you you peaky corners and all that sort of stuff. It's going to be, what about this plate carrier, or I don't know, what's your favorite placard system, that sort of stuff. There's definitely not going to be any of me trying to pretend that I was trying to think of someone cool that's I don't know. I'm not Grand Thumb or anything like that. But although I suppose Grand Thumb goes into his what does he say when he starts talking about guns, and he's like, let's get autistic about this thing. He is the buttstock of a whatever. For me, it's let's get autistic about buckles. So what do you think of buckles? Are you a Woojin buckle kind of guy, or are you a UTX, or are you ITW, or it's definitely not going to be me talking about my amazing military experience, which I have absolutely none of. It's just going to be still going to be talking about gear rather than tactical. There might be a little tactical stuff, but yeah. But as I mentioned, this can be something hopefully that will just evolve, that will change, and please be honest about things, which I think I'm very humbled in the fact that I think that the community that we've created, and I say we've created because I think it's all part of something that we've all kind of created together. I think it's a reasonable good community, and I trust you guys a lot. And I appreciate your honesty and your candidness. So if it is that something that you don't think is working, or I've just rambled a little bit too much, or maybe rather than just having a theme, maybe if we get kind of specific into let's talk about X, Y, and Z, which I think that's something that hopefully we can all kind of build on. And I've not been drinking as much, so I need to catch up. Show us some gear, Moorlander. I mean, there's a lot. There really is a lot. Unfortunately, we will. I tell you what we could do. One night. Stutter them. We'll go through one of these boxes. I don't think it'd be useful to go through a box tonight, mainly because I've only been in here a couple of weeks. So what I thought we'd do is I need to sort this out because Mrs. Morland was just like, get your shit out of the house. I've had enough of it. You got your shed. Do one. Yeah. So we will go through those. Yeah, brilliant. That's good to see as well. From how Von Sprague. A lot of the stuff that I've always been interested in, it's more of the military style outdoors gear, and that not coming from any military experience, which I certainly don't have, but just I think we're all hopefully I'm just assuming this we're all probably of an age that we all had granddads, we all had dads that have served or were in a war or something like that. So all of my adventures as a kid were always with my granddad, or they were always with my papa while we were in North Wales, or it's always stuff like that. And they bring out one of their old kit bags, and then my dad used to take kids camping in the lakes and all that sort of stuff. But the stuff that he used to buy, it was all ex. I'm struggling with the words today. What is it? The stuff that the military don't use. So yeah, he'd take that stuff as well. So it's always been that. So there is a nice crossover between those. So and it whether I'm talking about pouches on a bag or whether we're talking about pouches on a placard system or something like that. Surplus. There you go. I do struggle with my words sometimes. Then yeah, I thought so. That's cool. That yeah, surplus. So the little town that I grew up in, which I'm sure a lot of you grew up in similar towns like this, we had an Army and Navy store on the high street. I bought my first knife from the Army and Navy store. I was probably about 13, 14. I thought I was breaking the law doing it, but at the time, I don't think the laws were strict back then. And it was one of those, like it's the Book 110 where it's got the brass bolsters either side, and then you've got the lock on the back that you have to push it down. And it was the worst clone ever. The blade stock must have been made from butter. I think we went out. I cut a couple of things, probably a rope because me and my brother were climbing trees and stuff. Yeah, it was useless, absolutely useless. And then I think I ended up trying to find a piece of flint because I remember watching Rambo sharpening his knife with a whetstone. I think it's that scene from Rambo 3 where he's no Rambo 2 or which one ever it is, and he's like looking all cool with it. And I probably ended up just like knackering it even more, but that's what you do. And then the 90s was awesome because everybody was wearing cargo pants and stuff and old German shirts with the German badge on the sleeve. Everybody was wearing those, so Army Navy stores are the best. Surplus is awesome. But that kind of that's what walked my that was my gateway drug into all of this sort of stuff, and it was Eric Carpenter. That's what walked my fragile little mind. Oh, are you thinking of going? Yeah. So I have been considering here in the UK getting my firearms license. So it's slightly different. I don't know if it's slightly different here in the UK. It was something before COVID that I'd actually kind of started already. So I work in a town that's probably about 20 miles from here, and in the UK, if you want to have a firearms license, there's two. There's the shotgun firearms license, and correct me if I might be slightly out with some of these details, but I think I'm roughly there. The shotgun firearms license, pretty much anybody can get because it's for things like hunting and farmers, that sort of stuff. When you go and get a shotgun license, there's less emphasis on the police to say you can't have one because of these reasons, unless it is that you've been a criminal and there's a few things. They're relatively easy to get. But to get a full firearms license, which is your rimfire and your centerfire, you need to be part of a gun club. That's actually the best way to get it. So you have to be part of a gun club. You need to have gone, say, I can't remember the exact amount, but let's say it's you've got to go 20 times over 12 months. And then once you've done that and you've been with the gun club, then you can submit your license to say, I'd like to apply for a license. And then you go through the vetting through the police. Part of that, you have to decide how many calibers you want, which you might as well just tick all of the caliber boxes. We don't really have any issues here as far as if you want to just stick at 22 long rifle, then you can do. But if you tick all of the boxes and you want to go up to 50 BMG, I guess, then you kind of can. But most people tend to stick around your common cartridges like 223, 556, 22 long rifle, 308, that sort of stuff. So you do that. But what happened was I got in maybe about 6 months into that, and then COVID struck. We all started working from home, and then rather than going into the office where I'd then go and shoot on maybe like a Thursday night or a Sunday morning, it then got difficult to go in. And I think the range shut down. Now there is another range close to me, but it's a very kind of all boys club kind of thing. It's very difficult to get into, especially if you don't already have a license and a firearm. It's definitely something that I've been interested in as well. Growing up in the Moorlands, again, probably like a lot of us did if you grew up in the rural community, we'd all got little air guns and air rifles for plinking. Going and seeing my granddad at the farm and that sort of stuff. They got rifles for hunting, so I've always been around that, but the laws, I can't remember when it was. Something happened mid-90s. I'm sure it was mid-90s. Something happened. There was an incident where some people got shot, and the government knee-jerk reaction just went, right, okay, you can't own pistols, and then they did like a thing for rifles, which again made it slightly harder. Which some of them are fair, but some of them not so much. But anyway, so yeah, that's definitely something that I've been thinking of getting into. I think that would be more for the tactical channel, possibly. But I think I'd probably want to stay clear of the guns side. I know I've done some accessories like red dot sights and that sort of stuff, which on YouTube, although I have them on a replica, like an airsoft replica, it's not as bad with YouTube. Whereas when you get onto the actual kind of real firearm side, it gets tricky. So I think for me, sticking to accessories and sticking to kind of the gear side of that, the accessories that you'd have. So we look at rifle bags, which I have done on more on the tactical. I think it makes it a little bit easier for me because I don't have to get stuck into some of the stuff that I think some of those real kind of firearms channels have difficulties with. That's a cool question as well. Yeah, I'd love to see where everybody is. I know from the comment section and the people that I do speak to regularly, we've got quite a few Brits in here, but yeah, definitely good to see where people are located. I mean, don't feel that you have to put in your exact location or anything like that. That would be a little bit too weird. Or if you want to put in your postcode, your national ID number, and your inside leg measurement, that would always definitely help. I forgot I got this. Olight sent me this. This was part of their 18th birthday party. I was supposed to make some content for that, but that was when I had a month off because my stammer came back and I got stuck. And I felt really bad because they'd sent me some of their 18th anniversary kind of promotional stuff. I had to go to them and say, I'm ever so sorry. I'm stuck with this stammer at the moment. But they were really nice. The relationship that I got with Olight, the lady that I talk to there regularly, she's awesome. Hold that thought, Swagman scarf. Randomly, I didn't have much paid client work in today from work. So I was talking to my boss and I said, I've not got much in. Is there any chance I could have the day off? Because I thought, I'm out tomorrow. I'm going to do some airsoft with some buddies. So it's just a pain. If I'm out airsofting, that takes up one of the days that I was going to go out and do some filming. So I said, can I have the day off? And I've been out today, and you won't believe, but I have been filming today the Swagman scarf. So that looks terrible. See how good I look when I put this on? What I need is one of those like velvet smoking jackets and like a posh French cigarette and look all kind of sophisticated and debonair. So yeah, I've had this now. When did these get released? I must have had it about a month or so. It's weird. It's just, yeah, I do like it, and I've been pretty honest in it that it's a strange item. But because when you wear it, like, I'm probably kind of ruining some of the content when it comes out. But so what you've got is, it's a poncho. Where's the head? Where is the head? It's here. It's such a weird thing to get on, but essentially it's just a poncho. But what it reminds me of is, you know, the silk sleeping bag liners. It reminds me of a silk sleeping bag liner. Or if you've got one of those really expensive, ridiculously super lightweight, you know, the guys that are like, oh, everything's got to be hyper lightweight. It's like the nylon that you get on those lightweight tent systems that's designed that you can like fold it up so that you can fit it in your prison wallet. It's that small. But it's very flappy. When you're out in the wind, you just turn into a massive windsock. And because it's got the zips on here, so it's made again in such a way that you can zip this up and you can use it as like a sleeping bag kind of thing. So if you're out in the summer and you just want to get away from the flies, or maybe there's just a little bit of a wind, then you can put this on. But these zips, so if I zip this up like you're supposed to have it, see if I can do this quickly. Totally ruining the piece of content here, but zips up as you'd expect. The whole thing zips. Now I will say the zips are pretty good on you. You don't have to worry too much about catching them. But then you get it on, you put it around your neck. You have to kind of make sure that the air comes out a bit. But where the zips are here, can you see that this is very light. It's incredibly light. It's really nice and light. But the zip tracks are stronger than the actual nylon. So I don't have an erect nipple under there. That's the zip tract just kind of holding it up. So you have to kind of bunch it together and then use it as a scarf. But it works incredibly well with the Swagman roll. And what you can do is, when you've got it on, the Swagman roll is actually quite short, and for me, at my height, it comes just short of my wrist, which it does allow a little bit of heat in. Whereas you can put that then over the top, and then you can zip the sides up and then just have your hand out, so that any sort of air coming in through the sides. Yeah, I definitely, yeah. These are not the droids you've been looking for. It stops all of that from coming in. It's a weird one. I can see why they've made it, but it's just trying to work out what you'd use it for. I guess I've kind of said what you'd use it for, but it's just, would you want to take another thing out with you than just kind of work with what you've got, kind of thing. So it is quite good though. So I was out today. I went to a bandstand because I couldn't film in the woods because it was raining so hard. So I went to an old bandstand in a local park and filmed there. I just got my hands out like Michael Jackson, that scene where he's got that white shirt and it's just like blowing in the wind, and I've just got my arms out with this thing on. But he's very good at stopping the wind. It is quite good at that. Oh no way! Yeah, so this stuff is awesome. It's really nice. When I first started playing rugby when I was really young, my dad, when we used to go into the clubhouse afterwards, he'd be like, "Do you want me to get you? I'll get you half a pint." And the rugby club where I played had old speckled hen, so got a really he's got a soft spot for me as far as drinking is concerned, and it's a good quality. It's just 4.8, which I know it's not super strong, but it gets you where you need to if you fancy a pint. I'll see how quickly I can get out the content for that. I have got something planned for Sunday, and I've got something planned for Wednesday as well. I don't know if you saw, some of you may have seen in the bloopers a few weeks back, I made mention to a Helican Text jacket that's coming out soon. We saw it at the beginning of 2024 at IWA. Can everyone remember the Yukon winter jacket? So that's one that Military First, usually when it comes to Military First, just from bits of comments that you guys make, it's me going to Military First and saying, people have been talking about this, they've been asking about this, that sort of stuff. Are you okay to send me a few of these? But this is one of the first times that Military First actively emailed me, and they were like, "Look, we've got something that I think you'd love, and we think that your audience would like as well. So do you want us to send you one of these Yukon jackets, Yukon winter jackets?" Which, I don't know, there's a little, when you get those kind of moments that I've hopefully built this so that I can help you guys to look at kind of gear and stuff. That was really nice that they'd thought of me and this community that we've got. Now, as far as the Cantermouse 60 is concerned, I had what I consider a really nice little win a few weeks back. I thought I'd send Savota an email just to introduce myself. I had done that in the past. There's been some piece of content that I'd made by myself. I bought the Yakari M myself. I bought the Yakari S, the two hackers. I bought those myself. And there was a few times they'd sent me emails saying, "Look, we really like your content. Is there any way that we can we use this as part of our like promotion stuff?" I was like, I'd love that. So I sent them an email asking about the Cantermouse 60. And I think they sent out quite a few, but they looked. The lady that I was talking to there had actually looked and watched a lot of my content on some of their bags. So what they're doing is, instead of sending me the Cantimos 60, they're sending me the Yakari L, so that I can do a comparison piece between the Yakari L and the Cantimos 40 that I already have. And then we'll hopefully look at other Savata products in the future as well. Again, that was just a really nice little thing for me. Just a little kind of buzz that I was like, oh, I mean, let's face it, I'm a big Sabota fanboy. I freaking love their stuff. So being able to work directly with them was like a real kind of nice thing for me. The zoot suit from nylon. What's a zoot suit? Wasn't that the thing that the old guys used to wear in like the 60s? Or am I thinking? Am I thinking of something else? But yeah, from what I've I've not seen a lot of parachute nylon, but from what I understand, it is very kind of similar. It is very similar to that. It's incredibly thin, but it does seem reasonably tough as well. It's a very fine uh, ripstop, so it should be good. It's very good at stopping the air from getting through. I will say that. A bit of a huge scarf. Yeah, I think it's one of those things. It's a weird one. It really is, and it is massive. If you were to use this just as a scarf, it is pretty big, and I think that's mainly just to the amount of fabric that you've got here. Because if I hold this in its corners, it's the same. It's the same as a poncho. It's actually larger than the poncho, because the Helicantex ponchos that they have, they are to the same measurements and specifications, if I remember, as the American GI ponchos, which they were designed 30, 40 years, well, longer than that, when on average we were all ever so slightly smaller. So it's even bigger than those. So that whole material, there is a lot of it, but it's like little bits that are. It's just. It's not awkward. You could still put it on, and you could still use it to keep yourself if it is you're cold. But I think for the other bits, it seems to be more multifunctional. But they went because they were like, oh, you can use this as a scarf, rather than going, well, actually, it's a poncho, or it's a. They should have called it the lightweight. It doesn't. It's not got a nice kind of name for it, but the lightweight swagman poncho that can also be used as a scarf. I think rather than calling it a scarf, because it's a weird scarf, but the other stuff that you could use it and then go, oh, but you can also use it as a scarf. I think that would probably have made more sense. It's so hard for me to find a bigger jacket for. It's hard for me to find. My reading's shockingly bad. Find a bigger jacket and pack that size. Yeah, that's always been a bit of a struggle. I think that's one of the main certainly an issue. I think a lot of that comes down to the fibers as well, and then it comes down to the outer shell of that, and it's a weird toss up, isn't it? Because you can go for something like the. I'm just thinking off the top of my head, but you can go for something like the Wolfhound, where because on the outside it's got that thinner material, it's so much easier to be able to pack away because it's got the primer shield apex on the inside, which does pack down reasonably well. But then you want something that's a little bit more robust, so it's just adding weight to the outside. The Yukon winter jacket that I just looked, or at least the content will be out on Wednesday. It packs down roughly to the size of about a football. I could have probably got it a little bit smaller if I'd have put it in a compression bag and kind of buttoned that down a little bit. But yeah, it's hard. It's hard to try and find something that kind of fits perfectly for that. it must influence your reviews. It can it's a weird thing, and I think especially for me, and I hope this comes across when I make content. I genuinely do have a conversation with manufacturers about how I want to do my reviews, and I think it's the hardest thing to try and make that come across sincerely, because when I get to the end and I go, oh, I just want to say thank you to this company, and I have this conversation with everybody, and it's always to make sure that I can express my opinions. There are a lot of companies that they'll say, we want to send you one of these, and I'll say that's fine, but I just want to make sure that I've got complete creative freedom to say whatever I want. And some of them will just go, no, these are the talking points, and you've got to finish off on something positive. And for a lot of them, I just say, I want to make sure that I'm as authentic as possible. So quite a few of them I do say no to. On some occasions, though, what they will say is, or at least the way I'll say it to them is, if they're like, we don't want you to be too negative, because it's their product at the end of the day. They want to make sure that it comes across positively. What they'll say is, actually, if before you release it, we'd like to see the content before it goes live. And I'm more than happy with that. And a few people, I think, actually, I say that there's only ever been 2 people that have watched the content and gone, actually, we don't like it that you've said this, so we don't want you to show it. And I've gone, okay, yeah, if you just want me to delete it, that's fine. I can send the product back. One of them said, yeah, please send it back, and the other one just went, no, it's fine, you can keep that. But yeah, so I do honestly say to companies, and I think it's the way that I say about how I do positive and negatives. I don't try and stick to this is a positive and this is a negative, because for me, if I go, it's a bit heavy, that's a negative. For the next person, they're like, well, actually, I'm not bothered that it's that heavy. Or I could go, it doesn't have armpit zips, which I feel for me is a negative. Whereas I'll say, if I could change anything, I'd probably add those armpit zips, because the next man might watch that and go, well, actually, I'm fine with not having those. So I think the way in which that I do that, rather than it being a negative point that I'll dwell on, I just say, if there's anything that I would change this. So I think it helps them to kind of get that. But luckily, I've been very fortunate that the people that I work with, luckily I can kind of, in most instances, they'll allow me to choose what it is that I want to review. So generally, I choose the things that I'm interested in, or choose the things that I know I will like, because I think it would be a bit weird if I went, I'd like to review that, or I'd like to have a play with this, knowing full well that it wouldn't suit me. I remember somebody leaving a comment, and they were like, "Well, that's the bad thing. That's why there's no honest reviews on the internet for certain items," which I get. I do get that. Yeah, I think it is what it is on that one. But yeah, I do try to be as honest as possible. And there have been pieces of content that I put out that I've said I would change these, or I'd change this aspect of it. So yeah, it must be it must be the influencer in me. I always find doesn't influencer sound weird? It almost seems like it seems like the groomer. Hi, what do you do? I'm an online groomer. I probably should take that bit out of this when it goes live, or when it goes onto. It sounds like that influencer. It's got weird kind of connotations. Oh, it's design. Oh, right, okay. It goes in your bivvy, old school, right? Okay. I just remember, wasn't there a thing called a zoot gun? There was a thing called a zoot gun? Wasn't that one of the things that they used in prison, where it's like a really kind of rudimentary thing where it just kind of strikes it. Yeah, influencer. It's just kind of really weird. It is a really weird word. The scarf does pack down really small. So on the front, yeah, there is. I mean, if I just screw this up. So there is a small pocket that you can fold. I mean, this is shockingly bad at the moment. Um, but there is a small pocket. So similar to like your ponchos where you've got like a map pocket. It's not a full size map pocket. It's only just big enough that you can fit that in there. But this does. And then on the inside of the pocket, there's also, so you fold it into itself in the pocket. And then there's an elastic strap on the inside, which then becomes the outside that you just put the elastic strap around. So it is good. It is good for that. I think maybe if you were out, I think it'd be good for things like you're in the moors, or you're out in around some of the lakes up in Scotland, and it's midge season, and you've got them climbing all over, and you just can't get away from them. With that, what you can do is you can put it on, put your arms into it, and then zip the sides up completely. So one, it'll keep the wind off you. You'll still be able to walk around and make sure that if you fall over or whatever it is, that you can put your hands out. And then you can put a mozzie net over your head, pull the hood up to make sure that nothing gets in through the side. So there's plenty of different things that you could do with it. It's reasonably malleable in the ways that you can use it. It's just one of those that you just got to remember that it's there, kind of thing. It could be one of those things that it's almost like a tertiary item that you keep in your bag that you get back and go, oh shit, I forgot that that's even in there. And you're like, oh, that's another day that I've been out and I've not used it. So yeah, it'd be interesting to see when that's out. If people leave comments in the comment section going, oh, actually, I use it for this. It's really good for X, Y, and Z, or that kind of thing. I think the zoot suit that might be the US thing that I was isn't the zoot suit what the gangsters used to wear in the US, like the Italian kind of mob kind of guys. Yeah, yeah, I think you might be right on that one, Blanchpark. Yeah, it's a yeah, similar word, same. What was the same but different? You might have seen that. Might have seen that meme. What else we got on here? Oh, yeah, from the 50s and 60s. Yeah, I appreciate that comment, Podspark. Yeah, that's what I try to do, and I think having an open and honest dialogue with companies when they send you something, for me, that's the most important part. Um, Over the 7 years that I've been doing this, although I do get some free, I mean, I get quite a lot of free gear. I do get some companies that say, um, we'd like to actually sponsor this as well, so we're happy to pay you to make the content. And it depends on what I draw in as far as my kind of viewership figures on generally how much they pay people. They've kind of got tariffs for that sort of stuff. So there's only ever been two pieces of content that I've had over the last 7 years that I've actually took some money from, but I can't think of any other. I just feel a little bit old-fashioned in the respect that I don't want them to give me some money and then me feel like I can't bite the hand that feeds me. So on both occasions, I said to the companies, I said, I don't usually do it that way. Again, call me old-fashioned, but what I'd rather do is I'd rather you send it to me, let me have it for a month or so, let me test it out, let me make some content. If it'll be my honest content, I will show you that, and then I'll release it. If you're happy for me to release it, then that's good. And then afterwards, if you are happy with the content that I've made and you want to give me that money, then that's fine. I think the most I've ever made from one video on a sponsorship was I think it was $50, which comes to about 36, £37. It's not a massive amount. I mean, it's great that I made that at the time. But I said I'd rather, for my own peace of mind, I'd rather not accept a payment. I'd rather just make some content, so I've got the freedom to make the content that I want to make. And then if you're happy with that afterwards, if you want to give me some money, then that'd be good. And it hopefully it allows me to keep genuine in the way I talk about things. Yeah, that's it. Yeah, hipster gangsters. Yeah. Yeah, and you're right as well on that. So companies, a lot of these companies, they have a marketing budget. They have a budget every single year of X amount, which means that they can send out X amount of pieces of gear every single year so that they can send it to people like myself. Um, I don't want to comment too much on other people. I want to stay reasonably professional, but I know there's a lot of people that just make the content. Um, I try to make sure that I've had something for at least a month, maybe longer than that, because I don't do this full time. It's not a full time job for me. It's a hobby that I love. I get to see some amazing stuff. I get to do some amazing things every single year, and I get to see some amazing products. But I go out at the weekend. So one of the days I'll film for kind of half the day where I can film, say, 2 or 3 pieces of content. And then, so let's say if that's a Saturday, I'll go out Saturday morning, film some content, and then Saturday afternoon, me and Mrs. Morlander will take the dog, we'll go for a walk, we'll go through the hills, we'll go through the moors, we'll stop off for a pub lunch after that. If it is that we can't do that on the Saturday, I go for a run Sunday mornings, and then we'll get home, and then I'll go out on the Sunday instead, and we'll go and do a nice long walk or somewhere, and we'll kind of test that stuff out. So it just gives me a little bit more of an opportunity to actually test that stuff. I think one of the things that I worry about making content is that I don't want to come across as that guy that's just. I mean, I have to read from a spec sheet because my memory is shockingly bad. So I do have to read from certain things, but I do actually work on my experience of being out walking. Since COVID, I've not done as much camping as I want to. I'm definitely getting into that. In fact, up here, you can't see it there. Snug Pack have sent me some stuff. They've sent me one of those domed bivvies. So I am going to try and get out and actually start doing more of that. I'm a not the best bushcrafter, but it's something that I'm trying to do more of so that I can get more experience and using different things. So yeah, hopefully it all helps. It makes it kind of come across as genuine because they are genuinely used. So yeah, I hope that helps. Handmade pouches. Content is made. So yes, that was made. When did I make that? That was last week. So it's been recorded, but there was a couple of things that jumped the queue. So this Sunday, I just think I might be able to get it out. I could be able to get it out. Anyway, so yes, they are awesome. In fact, where did I have them? I've got one here. Yeah, because I was out and I realised. So when I'm out at the weekends, when I'm out filming, you might have seen because I always talk about this when it's out. I just take this out with me. I've got a couple of catapults that I go out. So in between most days when I'm out filming, I'll film 2 or 3 pieces of content. That gives me something for Wednesday, gives me something for Sunday, and it gives me a spare one just in case I'm ill and I need to do something. So I've always got these out, and I'm always just plinking in the woods, hitting trees and stuff. And I realised because I bought another bag of clay balls, and they won't all fit in. And this fit it's Ben. It's honestly it's perfect. Look at how it's like it was meant for it. So yeah, so I've got this. So the content is made. I just need to sit down and get that edited and get that out. So yeah, they're awesome, absolutely amazing. These are. So by the way, so these are handmade little pouches. There's 3 or 4 of them that were sent to me, and yeah, they're awesome. It's made from like X-Pack kind of eco-pack kind of material. But there's a guy that makes these and sells these on eBay, and they're even lined as well. And he makes these on one of those old school Singer, like turn of the century, like we've just had a turn of the century just kind of gone, but 25 years ago. I mean, turn of the previous century. His sewing machine's over 100 years old, and the craftsmanship on these is absolutely amazing. Duraflex buckles, and yeah, so I appreciate that, buddy. But yes, that content is it's definitely on its way. I love these, by the way. I don't know if anyone does just like take these out. They're just so good. Just to kind of, there was a guy on Instagram called Queen. I think he's called Queenie Catapults. I don't think he laminates these himself. So these are handmade by him. I know I should have some eye pressure, so I'm not going to pull it back all the way. But these are really nice. And then these are from Simple Shot, I think it's called. Not particularly expensive, but just like boys stuff. Do you know what I mean? When you're out in the woods, you just stop. I've probably got a cup of tea or some nice warm Ribena in the flask. Just stop, clear my mind for 10 minutes, a little bit of a palate cleanse in between filming. See how many trees I can hit with half a dozen balls, and then get back onto filming. So yeah, that content should be out soon. Yeah, the snowpack tents. I got into them a while back when I did the hammock. The hammock I really enjoyed being out with that. So I've spent 4 or 5 nights out with those. The weird thing with the hammock is the fact that you've got the hammock, then you've got the under blanket, then you've got the blanket, then you've got the tarp, and it seems like you take an awful lot out with you compared to what actually ends up when it's set up. But this is the sleep mat. But what they've done is they've sent me the sleep mat. I already have one of their Softy Elite. So I've got the Softy Elite 1, 2, and 5, I think I've got. But what I thought was there's plenty of room in this sleep mat, and I was curious if I took the sleep mat out of this, put it inside the hooped bivvy, and put my sleeping bag in there, so I can roll it up. Oh, is that wet? I can roll it up into just one sleep system, so it all fits together. I just need to get out and actually do some camping with this. Oh, I think it's by that back wall. There must be some condensation coming in. So yeah, I'm looking forward to that. I was going to try and get out over the summer a bit more, but from what I remember from when I used to go out and do quite a bit of bivvy camping a long time ago, you get quite warm in them. So I'm happy to go out and do some camping in the winter, knowing full well, being quite a warm-blooded person, that I'll end up being quite warm in them anyway. Yeah, I mean, I've had some interesting nights in Premier Inn. You just have to be careful. I think whether you're out in a tent or whether you're in Premier Inn, you still have to watch out for the bugs. And yeah, while you're in there, I've got some some strange stories from the Premier Inn that I used to work in training, and every now and again we'd have to like go to random Premier Inns around the country to do some training with salespeople. Yeah, some random stories from there. Yeah, the pandemic was yeah, it messed up quite a bit. I think the while you guys in the US, you were still allowed to kind of get out and do certain things. Um, the UK went on full lockdown, which was really bizarre. We were allowed, I forget what was it? We were allowed 1 20 minute, or was it 1 40 minute exercise a day. We had to stay in the houses, and we were allowed out um, to exercise during the day. And that was literally, we were allowed out for 40 minutes within kind of walking distance from a house. And I remember at the time, the Moorlands district. No, that's not right. Yeah. Anyway, so the police department in the Moorlands used to go out to the Moorlands, and anybody that was caught walking out there, they'd tell them to bugger off and go back home, even though they were out in the wilds, not even close to people. So yeah, it definitely messed up a lot for people trying to get outdoors. Snug pack do the blankets, yeah. So I've got a couple of those. In fact, it's down here. Oh shit! I've just pulled everything off. I forget what is this, the jungle blanket? So they got the jungle blanket, and then they got the jungle blanket XL. I genuinely love these things. If it's the winter and I'm out and I'm filming, I take this out with me and I keep this in my bag. So like randomly in between when I'm filming, and I'll just put it on to keep it a little bit warm. But here, because the temperature's dropping here, just put that over my legs. Or when I'm in the house, Mrs. Morlander hates it that I do this, but I'll quite happily sit with my what's it on, and then just have that while I'm watching TV, probably in my pants or something. But yeah, those blankets are awesome. Hopefully the shed hasn't got a leak. Yeah, I think it must be. I think there must be some condensation in there, because I know it's definitely not leaking. But yeah, there is some condensation on the windows on the inside, so it must be that. But it's absolutely thraping it down outside, which yeah. The pouches are reasonably waterproof in the respect that X-Pack, the actual material itself, does have a lot of hydrophobic kind of qualities to it. However, I don't think they're taped seams. I'd like to think that he's gone to that level with these, but I don't think they are. There is, as mentioned, there is some lining on the inside. Let's see if we can get this undone. I can't get it undone easily. But even then, so rather than just stitching it up, it's even done the reinforcement on the seams here, which again, just for a small one-man band that's making these, just to hopefully this helps him to get beers at the weekend. So yeah, they're reasonably waterproof, but I don't think they're 100% waterproof. If you've got maybe something in here that you just wanted to keep dry, maybe you're out doing some walking, you did the roll top on it and popped it in something. If it was in your bag, then it would probably keep dry if water started to get into your bag. But I think if this was just left out so that maybe it was submerged or something like that, I don't think it would fully stay dry. But I think for what it is and how they're made, it'll do a very good job. Yeah, brilliant. Yeah, so Mike's put there. So I don't think. Yeah, sorry, Ben's put there. Yeah, I don't think there's actual seams on there, but it'll still do a very good job because X-Pack, the way that it's designed, It doesn't allow water to go through it. It has that membrane on the inside of it, but it's kind of to yeah, to some degree. Swingers. I mean, I'll try anything once. Remember a story about that? I used to work with a lady who absolutely went nuts at her son because she was going through her laptop that he'd been using and found a load of swinger websites. So she went into her son's room, and I think her son was 8 or something like that. He was like really, really young. Absolutely tore a strip off his back, just going nuts at him. You're a little pervert. You're this, that, and the other. And his dad, all this entire time, his son was just like, "Oh, I'm ever so sorry. I didn't realize. Oh, all this sort of stuff." And then his son's dad, her husband, came home from work, and she went, "Your bloody son, he's been on my laptop looking at all this dirty stuff. Bloody swingers this, swingers that." And his dad went, "Swingers?" And yeah. Oh shit. They were into fishing. Is a swinger something that you put on like your fishing rod, or a weight that you put onto something? He'd been online trying to find some swingers for his fishing equipment, and then randomly all of these like porn sites came up and where to find other people if you were into swinging here in the UK. And yeah, she went in and tore a strip off his back. There you go. There's Randy's random little anecdote. Maybe we should have a section each week. Randy's random anecdote. I've definitely got plenty. I'll definitely put a link up because that content will be out soon. Or here are the other ones. If you look on, can you see that? Hopefully you can see that. It says handmade by Mr. Barbatus. Barbatus. These are the other ones. Because I took out the things that I'd put in there. So this one's like a little double zip pouch. This one's more of kind of a grab pouch. I put my electronics into this one, but again, I took them out. And then this one I've been using as a pencil case because it's got some kind of bellowing here on the side. I need to put my stuff back in there, else I end up going into work and even I missed it. So yeah, that's it. Yeah, Mr. Well, yeah, Ben definitely knows. But yeah, you can find those. They're on eBay, and there's different colors, different kind of sizes, and different pouches. So I've got a selection. Yeah, I'm working, and I do need to work on this back here. So most of the stuff I have got in boxes. Yeah, I need to kind of expand that so I can get some stuff. I also need to kind of get rid of some stuff as well. It's a strange thing when you get sent stuff. I try to give stuff away to friends and family, and some stuff that I purchased I sell on eBay. But I do need to kind of get rid of some stuff. I think just getting stuff in boxes like this has helped me to realize the amount of stuff that I've got that I need to try and get away from. Germany definitely rocks. Hey, yeah, greetings to any German people that are on here. I've found a passion for Germany recently over the last 2 or 3 years since I've been going to Nuremberg. Randomly through my work that I do professionally day to day, I do get to work with quite a few German companies, a lot of German pharmaceutical companies. In 2 weeks, I'm going to Berlin with work to a pharmaceutical convention there, and I think I'd say out of most of the companies, most of the countries in Europe, I've been to the most kind of medical symposia. Germany's probably the most. Been to Munich, been to Dusseldorf, Frankfurt. A lovely time in Frankfurt. Had an amazing time there. I landed in Frankfurt Airport. drove from Frankfurt Airport to a hotel that was within the Frankfurt Airport complex. Stayed there for 3 days. Didn't see anything other than the hotel. Then left the hotel to drive back to the airport to then fly back to Manchester. I do lots of kind of weird stuff like that where I spent some amazing time in Prague once. I saw a road from the airport to the hotel and then back from the hotel to the airport and flew back to the UK, which is always good fun. And one of the brilliant things that I've started to really appreciate about Germany is doner meat. Doner meat for me is just, it's a gift from the gods. It really is a gift from the gods. So yeah, to be able to try some of that German kebabs. If you're here in the UK and you really like a kebab, do not go to Germany and have a kebab because it will ruin every single kebab that you have when you come back here to the UK. That yeah, just kind of next level. Those who obeyed the restrictions definitely feel a little bit silly now. Now, I said we won't get into politics too much, and we really shouldn't. But I think if there was a pandemic version 2, they wouldn't get as much buy-in from the public, knowing a lot of the stuff that's come out since then. That yeah, definitely here with the old speckled hen. That's 2 down now. So, oh. Flying back to Manchester Airport. Manchester Airport is an absolute shithole, if you'll excuse my French. Yeah. Imagine flying into our beautiful, absolutely just green and pleasant land. And unfortunately, the airport that you fly into is Manchester. It's got better. It's definitely better than it used to be. It's not East Midlands. I don't know if you've ever flown into East or in or out of East Midlands. It's like a shed. It's like an old 1960s bus stop. Yeah, it's not the best, but you know, we do what we do. We're a small island nation at the end of the day, aren't we? Yeah, those patches are awesome for that sort of stuff. I think if you're the type of person that you've got your system completely set up so that you know what's in what, I think they'd be great. And although I don't know, this is just a pure guess. I'm sure if you were to message Mr. Barbicus and maybe ask if you could put like just add an additional hook and loop section on there. So you've got your med kit, you've got your fire stuff, you've got your hygiene stuff, all of that sort of thing. Or if you did it so that you got different colors of them. Yeah, because they really are the perfect size for that sort of stuff. And there's a few different ones. But these also fit really well into your smart pockets. So if it is that you're doing some bushcrafting kind of stuff and you got your whole system set up for whatever pockets that you've got, yeah, you can just chuck them into your different pockets. I've got to say, and I've always wanted to comment on this, Johnny B for Bacon. I love you. I love, yeah, Johnny B for Bacon is, yeah, that's a cracking name. I used to work with a guy that we called Johnny B. We never called him Johnny B for Bacon, but I wish we did now. Yeah. Just, do you know what? I think the rain and shit weather in the west. I think considering the Angles and the Saxons came over from Germany during the Great Migration, whenever that was. What was it? 200 something eight? No, when was the Great Migration? Anyway, you went from Saxony over to our beautiful fair land. You either brought the weather with you or you migrated to an area of Europe that was very similar weather. It's strange how similar our weathers are. Yeah, we have a lot of sheep here as well. half Welsh. So my dad passed down his Wellington boots and Velcro gloves. I've got them. They're in one of these. There is one of these packs. Apologies if there's any Welsh on. I'm part Welsh, so it's not insulting. You were all given government provided Velcro gloves and Wellington boots. We all got them. I've not tried the chicken doner yet. I do need to try the chicken doner. The one we had was the kind of the big elephant's foot style lamb doner, which was just incredibly nice. So the one that we went to was in Nuremberg. I've not been to the German version. Not been the Berlin version of it, but it's called Berliner Doner. And when I was at IWA 2 years ago, met up with some friends that were just through the comment section. They said that they were going to be there, and I was like, yeah, we'll meet up. And they said, what do you want to do? Do you want to go for something to eat? And I was like, what is the quintessentially German thing? And I was expecting them to say something like currywurst. Here in the UK, we hear a lot of that currywurst has become really popular in Germany, and they were like, currywurst? No, doner. Although I think at the time, so we say doner, but in Germany they were like doner, and I was like, doner. Oh, this sounds good. And then I realised same but different. And yeah, so good. But they do it rather than having it, because here you have it in like a pita bread, or you have it in a naan bread. There, it's almost in like a crusty bread that you'll cut through the middle, and then it kind of opens and splays up. So the bread's so nice, and then they'll put the guy, the Salt Bay that does that thing. So it's kind of like that. So he threw in this spice, a bit of, and then there's different kind of veg salad, and then they put the stuff in. And then there's more kind of flourish of spice, and then like little bits like pomegranate seeds. Who puts pomegranate seeds in a bloody doner kebab? The Germans, because they know their shit, and they put pomegranate seeds in there, and it's freaking awesome. And then you're eating it, and you're just like, I need more. It's so good. So yeah, hopefully in 2 weeks when I'm in Berlin, I'll find one. While I'm there as well, I've always wanted to go to Tacwork. I think it's Tacwork, TACWRK. So they're a big online retailer in Germany that do a lot of kind of outdoors military stuff. And I've always wanted to get a Leo Cola smock. So if I can, in between a few different events, I'm going to try and see if I can sneak out. I'm going to try and see if I can get a Leo Cola smock, because I've been seeing them and they look really cool. There's been a few different smocks that I've been able to test over the years. And I know people speak really highly of Leo Cola smocks. So hopefully while I'm there, I'm going to be able to pick up a Leo Cola smock. And I've been able to ferret away a little bit of money away as well, so I can maybe pick up some UF Pro gear, hopefully while I'm there as well. It's always tricky trying to get stuff into the UK now since Brexit and different tariffs and stuff. So yeah, hopefully I'll be able to pick up a few things while I'm there and take the labels off them, so I can get them through the airport. But yeah, I'll definitely try chicken doner. He does. Oh, there you go. So he does do custom work. So if it is that you wanted to get some of these and you wanted to have some bit on there, it looks like he'd be able to make those for you as well. I never understood fire starting kit when you've got a big lighter. Yeah, I get that. Like I say, I'm trying to get more into bushcraft, and my bushcraft a lot of the time is like typical COVID kind of thing. I dug a fire pit in the garden, so rather than doing barbecues on the barbecue, The kids loved it, so we were having fire pits in the garden, and I was like, "This is how you use a ferrocenium rod." 3 hours later, babe, can you get me the matches? Because yeah, but I think if you're going in, go in deep. Don't just go with the tip. You want to go elbow deep, and that is just the tip is using matches, whereas elbow deep is using a ferrocenium rod or all of that kind of stuff as well. Oh, I'm glad you watched that. Yeah, so Eric's. I've got a bit of a man crush on Eric. I generally have got a bit of a man crush on Eric. Um, I've got a really nice relationship. He's a very, very cool guy. This year, he was thinking of coming to the UK and asked me some advice on different places to visit in the UK. And I was like, London's great. It can be a little bit overpowering because there's a lot of stuff there. I said, but if you want to get out of London, you really need to see the real England, or you really need to see the real Wales. Cardiff is nice, but go into the Brecons. If you're going to Scotland, Edinburgh is nice, but you need to go out to the lakes, that sort of stuff. So I told him about a few different places around the kingdom and the moorlands, and he was like, "Sounds awesome." I got a really nice feeling because he came out. He was here with his family for a week or so, and it was just so cool because he was like, "Randy, I've never known this part of England before." He'd come to England before and he'd been to London. He'd done the London thing. I think he'd been to Cornwall, which he said he absolutely loved. But coming to the Kingdom Moorlands and going to Thor's Cave, going to Ludge Church, going to different lakes and stuff that we've got around here, he was like, I would have never have known this part of England. And sorry, not England. I've never known this part of the Kingdom Moorlands. So yeah, he's really, really, really cool guy. And I definitely recommend anybody that's watching this now, even if you don't speak German, make sure to check out the EPIG group. So EPIG group make very similar content to me, although some of their stuff is a little more kind of military kind of orientated. Martin, the guy, the main face on there, is such a cool guy. Always love meeting up with him when I'm in Germany. The subtitles are excellent. Martin's English is brilliant. All of the content is in German, but he doesn't do the auto English subtitles. He actually hand types all of the subtitles himself, and they've recently started using AI. An AI voice. Martin's got this beautiful, buttery, smooth German accent, and the AI voice that actually speaks for him is quite comical when you know what his voice sounds like. But if you get chance, I'd highly recommend checking out EPIG Group. I freaking honestly, I genuinely love those guys, and Eric is also part of theirs. Eric is part of the German. I forgot what it's called. So he is part of the German army, but it's like their reserve. I think it's their reservist. I'm not sure what it's called. I'm sure somebody will know. So he's got a lot of experience with them. And when you look at the Prepared podcast and the stuff that he does, I can't recommend them highly. And yeah, absolutely amazing channel if you want to have a look into that a little bit more as well. Yeah. Burger King has doner. Is it as good as like a proper doner place though, or is it like Burger King's doner kind of thing? Maybe I need to check that out as well. It's rare that when I go to these events with work that I actually get sometimes. So I'm hoping that I can get to TAC work, but maybe I'll have to check that out. I do hear there are some interesting nightclubs in Berlin as well. I think it being a work event, I might struggle to get into some of those. But maybe having a bald head and a beard, maybe I should like get some leather gear or something. It'd probably make it a little bit easier for me able to get into them. Like I say, we're not talking about religion, we're not talking about politics tonight. Maybe that's another one for another day. But yeah, potentially that would be quite good. Yeah, but just been fascinated by Leocola. I think when there's different smocks, Arctis, especially here in the UK, Arctis is that kind of, I would say, quintessentially British kind of smock, because there are other smocks out there, but I certainly know of a lot of people that have tried the Leo Cola ones that they speak really highly of them. So yeah, definitely interested to see what their kind of side is. It's weird when you go to things like IWA, because Leo Cola just have such a small little stand, um, which just kind of fascinates me. I'd expect them to have this big, grandiose kind of stand where they've got loads of gear on there, but instead it's just one of the smaller box stands, and then they've got just like a clothing rack with a few different things on there. But I also hear so Leo Cola also do some trousers that they've done for the last 80 years. And when I was there talking to the lady there, I was like, what's your most popular thing? She said, these trousers. I was like, "Oh, seriously? That, yeah, just I think they're like wool trousers." But she was like, "No, it's the best selling item and has been for the last God knows how long." So maybe I should pick that up as well. I'll see if I can get some of those. It'll depend on budget, how much I can spend while I'm in there. If only there was enough budget. Yeah, uh, I'm very fortunate enough that Mall under EDC now pays for itself. I get enough through my ads. I could get more. I know I did a post a few weeks back. When you do the automatic ads through YouTube, it just does one every, it's 2.5 minutes. So for me, most of my content's all about 20 minutes long. Um, so one every 2.5 minutes, I'd make more money through ads, but I just put a few in there, and it gives me enough that I can kind of make this sort of stuff. But yeah, it would be awesome if we all had unlimited budget to just kind of buy stuff. But in that world, we'd all have a, a 5-day weekend, and we'd only have to do 2 days a week just to kind of pay for stuff, wouldn't we? You want to scrape it backwards against the knife. I did watch someone, and it made someone was doing it, and they'd got the knife edge against it while they're doing it. It's like, no, no, this is the best way to do it. And I was like, yeah, it kind of makes my pubes kind of itch watching people using the knife edge. Now maybe if they'd use the choil down at the end, because that you could strike them off that, but when people use the actual knife edge, it makes me feel a bit weird. London is definitely a good way to test your EDC knives. Yes. There are certain experiences that you'll have in London that will definitely allow you to be able to test that sort of stuff. How far you get with the police, that's a different story. But yeah, unless you're a little gangster, then you can do pretty much whatever you want around London. But if you're a regular Joe Public with a knife, yeah, you will kind of struggle. Yeah, the wish list on Amazon would be cool. Would be cool if they did that sort of stuff. I think the weird thing here in the UK, we're kind of limited on sort of stuff. A lot of the stuff that we see on the wish list is just it's kind of tat. Whereas I know in the US, if you look at the US version, they sell much more different knives. They sell a lot more kind of Leatherman stuff. Whereas here in the UK, it's not as good. You kind of have to go to Heine Haynes or one of those kind of sites to be able to find some stuff. Yes, definitely don't forget to hit that like button. Yes, is that what it's called? Is that what it's called? The reserves. I think it's called the reserves. Yeah. Um, he's actually started his own channel, which is dedicated to the actual gear that they're given. So when every year or however often you get your new kit, so just to make sure that everything's kind of up to date, he's even showing me this massive satchel full of everything. He says, but there's some stuff in there that like there'll be like a random pocket. So when he's been talking to the other guys that are on reserves, they're like, I don't even know what this pocket's for. I just keep a knife in there, or I keep change in there. He's like, I don't know what the pocket's for. So he started to look into the different pieces of kit. And let's say there's some tactical pants and they've got this on the side. He started contacting companies to go, why do you put this on the side? And like, it's just a thing that we've always put on there. In the 1950s, they used to keep this Mark 6 cantina in there, whatever it is. Or they used to keep a certain knife or a tool in there that was used as part of the rifle equipment. But it's just there because the army have said, don't take it off, but we haven't got that piece of equipment. So what he started to do is he started to make some content that the German army are actually using now, so that their new recruits and people that do the reservist stuff that maybe aren't there every day have that kind of continuous training. They can watch his content, which I think is really cool because we're all a little autistic, we're all a bit nerdy about that kind of stuff, and he's using that to help the other soldiers that he works with, which is quite cool. Thanks, Space Monkey. I'm glad that you enjoy the content. I really do appreciate that. Hold the knife up. Yeah, I mean you can pretty much start with those first area. You can do most things. I think the difficulty is when you're finding something that it's not got, because even with a folding knife, you can still do it with a folding knife. It doesn't have to be a lock knife. Um, but a 90 degree bevel on the 90-degree spine on there certainly helps, but it doesn't take much. You don't even need much equipment to just be able to put a 90-degree angle on there to be able to do it anyway, which I think most of us would probably do if we needed that sort of thing. What's my opinion on Swiss Army knives? Um, I like them. I think for EDC, I think they're great. Um, I think the weird thing with Swiss Army knives is a lot of them. So the way that they've gone with them, with the electrician or the Pioneer or the Pioneer X, they're trying to push specific knives down a pathway so that if you're an electrician, you got a knife that's useful for you. And I think they're good. I think they work. I think there's nothing wrong with them. They are a bit old fashioned, but I think in some respects, if it's not broken, you don't necessarily need to change it. And I know they've kind of done that thing where they've gone through different scales and they've gone through different scale materials. They've got those ones where it's kind of got like a thumb trail kind of thing in it. I forget what those versions are called. I don't think they've done as well as some of the other ones. I think the original cherry scale ones still sell reasonably well. For me, I've always gone with the Alox ones, mainly because with the Alox ones, they're just more rugged, I guess. I find I'm a little bit OCD, especially with the cherry ones, because when the cherry ones turn up and they've got that original kind of sheen on them, they look awesome. But then after a few months, when they're in the pocket and they look all scratched, I kind of get a bit twitchy, and it kind of, it makes me feel a little bit dirty inside. Whereas with the Alox ones, you can have those for years, and you don't have that aluminium oxide kind of having any issues. But yeah, I quite like those. I think out of most knives that I carry here in the UK, I'd say the I'd say the Swiss Army knife Alox ones I carry the most, and I think mainly for a simple reason that there are certain knives. If I was to pull this out at work, although this is a locking knife, so I probably couldn't have this at work. But if you pull certain knives out at work, people are like, "Oh my god, Randy's going to stab me! Oh, what's going to happen?" Sorry, that might be a bit distasteful with what's happened recently. Um, I, yeah. Anyway, so I wouldn't want that to happen. Whereas I think any situation anywhere in the UK, unless you've got some really super anal police officer that's just a little weirdo, anybody if they were to pull out a Swiss Army knife, everyone's just gonna, oh, it's just a Swiss Army knife. It's nothing. It's you cut apples with it because that's what most people think that you do. So I don't think they're necessarily bad. So yeah, I don't mind. Don't mind Swiss Army knives. I think they're good. I think, yeah, I think Victorinox are in the no, Victorinox. So I think Maxpedition are in the process of looking into that so that they can change that as far as the Teflon's concerned. Um, I know there's quite a lot of companies recently that have kind of looked into those kind of health issues around Teflon. So they're looking at alternatives. I know I was who's it with? Highlander Forces. Highlander Forces are going to be sending me some stuff. Whereas before they used to use Teflon coating for their keeping stuff um, dry, water resistance. That's the word. So yeah, there are some more. A lot of people kind of turning away from that, and they're stopping to use it. So I think it's good that they've all been very responsive. There's a few probably products that have been in the pipeline for some time, but I think it's getting easier for them to contact manufacturers and say we just want to shy away from this sort of stuff. So yeah, I think it's good. Yeah. Well, as it happens, so again, I've got a series of videos on bags that I think within the EDC world and kind of our little niche of EDC stroke getting outdoors kind of um, bags. I've done one on the Borealis. I've done one on the GR1. I've done one on the Savotti Yakari S, and I've got into and I've been talking to the people at Maxpedition, and I went, do you know what? The Falcon 2 is held at such high regards, and I'd love to do some content and kind of induct this into my Hall of Fame with iconic bags. And they've gone, what color would you like? So that should be arriving soon. So hopefully I'll get some content out soon. But yeah, when I got into this and I started to look at kind of staples and I started to look at things, there was always two bags that I think for me have been those Grail style bags. There's the Falcon 2, which I remember when they made the Falcon 3, and everyone was like, no, why would you change that? And they're like, okay, we'll still make the Falcon 2. So we got the Falcon 2 and the Falcon 3. And there's the Falcon 2, and the other one is a triple aught design. Is it the Fast Pack? There's two versions of the Fast Pack, isn't there? There's the Fast Pack Light Speed and the Fast Pack EDC. I forget. The Fastback EDC, I think, is a 27 litre, and then the other one was a 30 litre, and the other one is a 22 litre. But they don't make the Fastback EDC anymore. I wish they still did, because that would be one that would be massively on my list to be able to add to the collection. Yeah, I can see there's some other folk on here as well. Yeah, the classic SD really is a good one. There's so many of those, and I think they kind of spread themselves so thinly. I think in a way, almost what they need to do is they've got such a large collection that they've spread themselves a little bit too thin. But I guess in a weird way, they've got all of the tools. So the tools are already made. They're just putting them into different kind of versions and calling them whatever. But I think in some ways, Victorinox almost need to go. We've got 6,000 SKUs at the moment. Maybe we should reduce this down to maybe 1,000 different SKUs just to make it easier on people. But yeah. Yeah, and you're right, Ben. There again, they are just less offensive. You pull out a Swiss Army knife, especially one of the cherry red ones. No one is ever going to go, "Oh my god, what are you doing there? You've got a knife." It's a yeah. I think for that Swiss Army knives, yeah, they're kind of perfect for that sort of stuff. It's good. It's good to see that there's some love out there for the Falcon too. That bag I used to watch. What was the name of them? There was the guy, and at the end of all of his videos, he'd be like, there was a line from what was it called? Prepared. I've got splooge. I don't know why I've got splooge in my head. I don't think it was splooge. That would be a real weird name for him. But yeah, at the end of his videos, I know I do like the "Stay Safe, Stay Morlander," but he'd do the line from Strength and Honor. Was that the one from Gladiator? Strength and Honor. Yeah, he do that at the end of there. And I watched a lot of his content when I was trying to get into YouTube and trying to work out who I wanted to be and what the sort of content that I'd make. And he talked long and hard about his love for the Falcon 2. It's such an awesome pack. What? TK Maxx do some tactical stuff? Do they? I need well, I'll have a look at the TK Maxx, our local TK Maxx, which is in Stoke. So it might have been tucked into a toilet and been, I don't know, molested because Stoke's a bit weird. But yeah, I'll see. Carrymore. So Carrymore, I've got two bags. As you've seen on my content, my favourite style of bag is a 30-litre top loader. So I've got one from Tasmanian Tiger. I've got my favourite one, which is the Yakari M from Savota. I'm going to pick up one of the Carrymore. There's two, isn't there? One's got the Molly on the one's got the Pals webbing, which I think is it the Predator? And then there's another version that doesn't have that. So I'm going to pick up one of those because I want to make some content specifically on why the 30-litre top loader has been so popular over the last God knows how long. I think that'd be a really nice piece of content. But yeah, Carrymore. There's such a my first ever bag, and I still have it. It's under the stairs inside. Was a 20-litre Carrymore backpack. It's a shame that a few years ago, they had that financial struggles, and if you see Carrymore now in places like Sports Soccer, it's not the same company. Because they had that financial struggle, they sold off Carrymore as kind of the consumer side to a Chinese company that just make that stuff for Sports Soccer. What's it called? Sports Direct. Whereas Carrymore SF is still the same guy that had that business, and he had to separate it out as a business to Carrymore SF. So yeah, I do need to. Yeah, that's it. So Carrymore now is owned by Sports Direct. That's it. But that's that kind of the I want to call it the kind of consumer side, whereas Carrymore SF they actually split out, which is why they had to call themselves Carrymore SF. But they still make those military outdoor kind of bushcraft kind of bags. But I need to pick one of those up. I did have their Predator 30. I think the Predator 45. although it's bigger, it's also got the zips on the sides. So you've got those baffle kind of bags that the pouches that you can fit on the side. So I need to pick up one of those as well. Yeah, the Rush series. So the Rush series was actually how I started my iconic series. Um, I've got some friends that have been in the military, and I've got some friends that have been in the US military as well, and I know how much those guys absolutely love their Rush 12s and their Rush 24s and the Rush 72s. Um, so I bought one of I think it was the Rush. It was when they went. So the 511 did the Rush 12 version 2, and I bought one of those straight away. And it's actually today. Let's check. Let's see if I can find this. It's my second best video. Oh, I'm just checking my Google Analytics, video analytics. In the 7 years that I've been making, here we go, content. In the 7 years that I've been making, oh God, where's it gone? This isn't interesting for you because you can't see what I'm clicking on. In the 7 years that I've been making content, I've got 3 videos that have made over 100,000 views. One was a Casio watch. First place was this. It's only been out now for 18 months, and it's my content on the Garmin Instinct X2 Solar Tactical. But before that, it was my iconic series video on the 511 Rush 12 2.0. Such a good bag. And I know from the guys that I know from stateside that have been in the army how much they love those. It's just awesome. What I'd also thought about making was like a destruction video, buying a Rush 12 2.0 and taking it out into the malls and trying to see what stupid stuff I can do to it to try and see if I can break it. Like throw it off the top of Hen Cloud and then not set fire to it, but yeah, those guys, those bags are freaking epic bags. It is one of the downsides when you've got Molly on stuff and Pal's webbing on stuff. It has a certain look to it. Whilst I was going away with work once, I think it was with the Rush 12. I actually got stopped by the armed police in Manchester Airport. Yeah, so I was the first one there out of all of my colleagues, and I got stopped. There was 3 armed officers with, I think they got MP5s, and my colleagues turned up, and I'd been detained by these 3 armed officers. It turns out that I'd been trying to do some filming while I was in Manchester Airport, so I put a small GoPro on my bag and I just walked 100 meters, and they stopped me and they were like, "What the fuck are you doing?" It's like, I thought it was okay, and they're like, "No, you can't film here." Plus, by the way, I noticed you're wearing a smock, and I noticed you've got this bag that's on, because I get sent so much stuff that I just wear it. Oh, so they were like, "What's going on?" And I was like, I had to explain. So yeah, you definitely have to be careful because some stuff does look very military looking. It's kind of the beauty of using that stuff that hasn't been used by the military. You've got all of this surplus, but sometimes you do get some funny looks. Probably are best with Adidas. I was gonna do some content today, but it was raining whilst we were out. I picked up a Viper tactical. I forget the name of it, but I was going to make some content on the difference between stuff that you just pay a little bit more money for. This is made from 100% Chinesium. There's hopefully there's never any kind of snobbery around stuff, but yeah, some of those Adidas bags. I remember like at high school, even just having kids, you buy something for them, and just breaks after a year, doesn't it? You're always constantly buying stuff for your kids. Yeah, I think Helicon Techs have a very good balance with their products. I think they've got whoever they've got out there that's product testing stuff, that's sitting down, and I hope they do this sort of stuff. I'd like to think that they have. I forget those things where you get people in, you go, "Oh, what do you think about this?" and kind of get opinions from kind of the public. Um, they've got a very good idea of kind of the stuff that they can use, and having that balance of the bushcraft line, because they add some things on there that make it a little bit tactical looking, but luckily they keep away from it looking like I was saying before, just the tip rather than elbow deep. I think they do that well. Yeah, there are a lot of knockoffs out there. Over the years, I've had quite a few companies get in touch and ask if I'd like to have a look at their products, and I've emailed them back and gone, "Do you make these on behalf of somebody, and you just took that off, because that clearly is an Agilite whatever, and you've just removed this from them. Do you make those for Agilite?" And they've gone, "Well, no, we've come up with this ourselves." It's like, no, or it's been a Tasmanian tiger thing, and you're going, you've just kind of copied that. So, yeah, there are a lot of a lot of copies out there. Yeah, definitely, a nice bright orange one. I had one of my first ever pieces of content I did was on the North Face Borealis, and it was a bright, really shocking yellow. On the video, when you look at it, it looks like quite a nice kind of mustardy yellow, like a that. No, it's like that comes across shocking in the camera, but it was a nice kind of yellow. But I got it mainly because when I was out and I got two young kids at the time, I wanted to have something that was glaringly, ridiculously yellow, so that if I was out and we were walking or we were out in a shopping centre, that they could go, "Oh yeah, there's Dad. He's the one with the ridiculously bright canary yellow backpack." So yeah, I could totally rock a nice super light kind of orange bag. Well, we are just about at 2 hours, aren't we? This is longer than I was expecting, and I'm glad that the conversation has flowed this time. And I've only got 3 beers, so I'm coming close to the end of this one. Maybe we call it time for this one. I hope this has helped. And I know at the beginning of this we kind of go over some ideas. So if you've got more comments, if you want to leave those in the comment section, that would be awesome. Maybe we should call it. We should call it for tonight. But going forward, this was a weird one because I did have some weird IT because I work for a big international. And anyway, yeah, IT is always kind of great trying to set up webcams. But going forward, this will be the last Friday of every month. Again, I'll choose a kind of theme. We'll decide which one it's going to be. I'll put it out on the community thing so we can kind of choose one. And yeah, it's kind of come a bit of a quick close. Maybe that's something that I need to work on in future, so I can kind of work it into a close. I've genuinely enjoyed tonight, folks. I was going to say fellas. There might be some non-fellas. Anyway, genuinely enjoyed tonight, and I'm looking forward to growing this. Oh no, I want to do a giveaway. I do want to do a giveaway. So this is full over the years. Those small little EDC kind of bags. So let's do a question now. The Kingdom of the Moorlands is made of X amount of small towns. So we'll go with who can get the answer first. It's just a pure guess. How many towns is the Kingdom of the Moorlands made of? So if you want to put a comment, first person to get the answer correct, I'll randomly pick something out of this box and then I'll get this sent out to you. How about that? So how many towns makes up the Kingdom of the Moorlands? Answers in the comments now. Random guess. It's not 13, it's less than 13. This might be really weird. I should probably work on this for next time so this can be a little bit more interesting. It's not 6, it's less than 6. I definitely need to work on this for next time, don't I? It's not 4, it's 3. Yes, it is 3. You've got Cheadle, Leek, and Biddulph. We don't talk about Biddulph an awful lot. So yes, Count Dracula. So what I will do is I'll put my hand in here. This is from JD Designs. These are really nice. I forget what this one is called, but it's got the really nice inside on this, and it also does the inserts. It does the inserts on here as well. Right, Count Dracula. What I need you to do is, if you go to on my YouTube section, there's a bit at the end and there's a contact section. You have to kind of put a yes, I'm not a robot, but my email address is on there. Rather than giving it out here, go to there on YouTube and you'll see my email address. Get in touch with me through my email address and I'll get this sent out to you. It's been owned by one careful owner, like everything else in this box. They have been used, but yeah, over the years, one careful owner, and yeah, I'll get this sent out to you. So yeah, well done, Count Dracula. Yeah, 3. It's a small but very important nation. But yeah, well done, buddy. Get in touch with me through email, and I'll get this sent out to you. But everybody else, again, here's to good health and happiness, and I will see you in the last Friday of it's October now. So the last Friday of October, we'll do this again. Beforehand, we'll work out what it is that we're going to discuss and what it is we're going to chat about, and we'll just see where the road takes us. But yeah, I've thoroughly enjoyed tonight, folks, and yeah, I feel like I should like a stay safe, stay Moorlander kind of thing. But drink more beer, test more gear sound. Anyway, cool. Yeah, I'll see you all soon. I don't know how to turn the live chat off. I don't know if it's there at the bottom. Right, okay, cool. I'll see you soon. Content's out tomorrow. I'll see you in a bit. I'll tell you what I'll do. I'll do the scarf. I'll do the scarf thing for tomorrow. But no, it's that on Sunday. I'll do the scarf thing for Sunday. But yeah. Drink more beer, buy more gear. The affiliate links are below, kind of thing. Cool. Right. See you soon.